All right, everyone, we are live with another news wrap-up. Of course, I've got to make sure we're actually live on Rumble. I've got 4 tabs open as well over here. I will be reviewing some news. That's the main point of these streams. Saturday and Sunday, normally it's more Super Chat related. I will be getting to Super Chats, don't worry. I wanted to wait a little while people filed in anyway. Make sure that this is actually live. We shall see. Usually you have to refresh it first. Come on, Rumble. You know you want to go live. Maybe it doesn't want to go live. I'm doing me best. Come on. You know you want to take the stream. Come on. There we are. Okay. We are live on Rumble. Excellent. We've got a lot to cover here. By the way, several appearances planned actually over the next couple of weeks. One is a surprise, several of them. One is a pre-recorded. One of them will be live. And then I'm debating, I can't remember his name, with the Break the Rules podcast. So there will be a lot of stuff over the next couple of weeks as well. I'm getting back into the appearances thing. Croque-Manar on Rumble. Hey, Sticks, just finished breakfast, sitting down with a cup of coffee. Chug 2 cups of coffee and clank in my name. Unless you have a heart condition. Disclaimer, I didn't tell you to do it if you do. Apparently, coffee is actually vasoprotective. The old studies that said that it could cause heart attack and stroke didn't fix for tobacco usage, which was common among people who also drank coffee. So hello to everyone, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch, that we are live. I'll be going through a lot of good stuff here. There are a lot of tweets by gun owners of America that I have to get into. That's the main news of the day, but I will also be doing Super Chats. There's a lot to cover here. It's going to be great. A little bit of sarcasm for your morning. I realize it's 6:30 in the morning Eastern time. Californians are asleep, but I can't imagine many of them watch me anyway. Soleil333 got into black powder shooting recently and have enjoyed a coworker having a panic attack when they learned you can get everything mailed directly to your door. Anywho, enjoy the content. Keep it up. Yes, black powder weapons are not covered generally under the NFA, but then again, neither are flamethrowers and electro devices, laser rifles, etc. You make those yourself, and they're perfectly fine. Some of those will literally take down an aircraft by blinding the pilot. They're not regulated, which is maybe slightly odd. Killdog99X. Sticks, can you please explain what the Biden loser units is? A Biden loser unit is 300 concurrent viewers. If you have 300 people watching you on a live stream, it's a Biden loser unit, because 300 seems to be the magic number of people that pay attention to him on the official streams, unless it's like a major event or something, and therefore it gets promoted by YouTube and other sites. 300 people watching is about the number of people he can get at a physical rally, because nobody actually likes him, and the polling is wrong. So yeah, we're already at 2 Biden loser units at the moment. Not a banned account. If people dislike gas prices, just buy an electric car. Yeah, we hear that a lot from the Democrats right now. Buy a $50,000 vehicle in order to avoid 50 cents per, however many hundreds of miles. This makes sense to these people. Robot Trucker, can you think you can join with Colonel Chris again? Yeah, possibly. That'd be fun. Let's see. 1 BLU equals 0.1 SLU. Logman, hey Sticks, what could Roe v. Wade mean for the retarded human shit baby? Need to know so I can abort mine before Supreme Court abolishes abortions. Yes, this is a log reference. I post log threads on B every single day. I am unrepentant about this. It's called living in the past, back when the internet was good. B was never good, but, Stephen Nizek, Tim Pool gets swatted. Quartering gets swatted, yet Sticks doesn't get swatted. Does this mean Sticks is more milquetoast fence sitter than Beanie Man? No, it means that my current address is not public. a little bit different in the Netherlands than it is in the United States. If I were to buy, and in the future I do intend to do so, land and have a house built in the United States, I'll definitely be looking for state laws and local ordinances to shield my address from being publicly available. I will probably in the future, in the meantime, if I'm back in the US, which I will be at some point in the immediate future, I will probably do live streaming from a hotel room. Specifically because of this horse shit. It seems that the left at this point, they don't care if they violate federal law and commit felonies to try to distract live streams. Well, it's not going to work on me. I'll just go elsewhere. I'll get a Starlink thing. I'll do it out in the middle of the desert or something. Yes, I did see that though. Tim got swatted for what is now the 8th or 9th time. The quartering got swatted. It's leftoids. It's brain dead moron leftoids doing this. Triggers McNickers. What are the chances that the woke Pentagon fakes a national emergency and has their puppet declare martial law suspending elections in either 2022 or especially 2024? 0% chance of a suspension of elections. However, as we will see with the monkeypox story, they are definitely gearing up to try to expand mail-in fraudulent ballot access. They are definitely doing that. We'll get into that. Don't worry. Sorearm69 on Twitch. Honk honk. Clown world. Yeah, just think if Tim Pool gets swatted, how much more would somebody who's more edgy? Tim Pool has relatively normal opinions. He's a liberal. He's not far right. Oh, he criticized the Democratic Party, so he's basically a more talented Jimmy Dore. And these people continuously harass him. What I would say is that we definitely desperately need reform as far as the laws go with regards to tips to police. Deprived Dolphin, a callow libertarian here, night shift worker. Currently, it's my weekend. Love and peace to you, Sticks. Started a garden with my wife. It is working well. Yes, make sure to plow in some horseradish. That's the best of all. You know, you blend it up, add a little vinegar, a few other things, and you're good to go. Put that on a sub sandwich with lots of pastrami, mountains of meat, huge amounts of horseradish. Hopium Gardener, Ralph Retort was also swatted for the 3rd time. Yeah, it seems like people that don't enjoy content creators keep doing that. It's funny. It never seems to happen to legacy media pundits. Now, does it? They never get swatted. I wonder why this is. Anyway, we're going to go over first. We've got a big piece of news here, which is the cucking of parts of the GOP with regards to anti-gun laws, with regards to the Second Amendment. I'm just going to read these verbatim from Gun Owners of America. This is basically the millennial and Gen Z version of the NRA. The NRA has cucked. They do not want to get rid of any former gun control. They just don't want more gun control. So they have no problem with impediments to the Second Amendment. They just don't want more impediments. The classic conservative syndrome. Gun Owners of America on Twitter. And I'm going to read many of these verbatim. So just so you get a chance to see how this works. Gun Owners of America. U.S. House of Representatives votes 226 to 194 to criminalize disassembling, cleaning, and reassembling your gun without a firearm manufacturer's license, including 8 Republicans. This is part of the gun control that the Democrats currently want. And then there were Republicans that voted for each of these. It's interesting because some of them voted for certain aspects of anti-Second Amendment legislation and didn't vote for others. It will be DOA in the Senate. The good news is that the Senate will block all of these propositions. What they're referring to here is the idea that disassembling and reassembling a weapon effectively is a form of manufacture. Yes, the Democrats are crazy enough to think that field stripping your gun, oiling it up, making sure it's clean and capable of functioning is a form of manufacturing. This is not hyperbole. This is actually one of the things that they have suggested. I noticed that the NRA has no problem, apparently, with this. U.S. House of Representatives votes 220 to 207, including 4 Republicans, so a little bit less, To put you at a marked disadvantage in self-defense scenarios, your magazine could only have 15 rounds while criminals and mass murderers will disobey the law. Yes, they are suggesting that so-called high-capacity magazines be banned. Really, what that means is that they only want low-capacity magazines. Anything under 15 rounds is low capacity. 10 is low. 20 and 30 are standard capacity. Anything above 30 would be, you could construe it as higher capacity, 50-round drum. I think there are 110-round drums for 22 caliber. They don't work so well, though, because unfortunately they can lock up really easily. It'd probably be better to be belt-fed at that point. U.S. House of Representatives votes 233 to 194, including 13 Republicans, to pass a bump stock and bump fire ban. Apparently, belt loops and pants pockets must now be illegal, too. Watch Real Gun Lobbyist bump fire without a stock. Yes, apparently bump firing is still a boogeyman. This is one of the things on which I chastise Trump for, clearly. You do not need a bump stock to bump fire. If you're going to outlaw the concept, that makes no sense because Gatling cranks are still available. Okay, so it fires the same, it's just semi-manual. Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. By the way, I really want to get a Gatling crank for a high-capacity weapon in the future. Of course, I have to do that in New Hampshire. Vermont has its own legally challenged laws with regards to firearms capacity at the moment. U.S. House of Reps votes 220 to 205 to keep you from being able to access your firearm reliably in a self-defense scenario, including 3 Republicans. See, this was less popular. When seconds count, your gun must be locked away. Yes, the idea of safe storage for guns, it sounds really good on its face. Okay, your gun is, it's kept away from your toddler. The problem is that if someone breaks in the middle of the night, you do not have time to put the combination into your safe and grab your gun. And so it doesn't make really any sense, but it's still proposed. U.S. House of Representatives votes 226 to 197 to ban straw purchases because apparently House Democrats forgot that was already illegal. Yes, indeed, using a federal law to supersede state laws that already address the issue. This is classic Democratic Party. U.S. House of Representatives votes 228 to 199 to ban 18 to 20-year-olds from having semi-automatic rifles for home defense while still allowing them to be drafted and sent overseas with machine guns, including 10 Republicans. Kinzinger is not the only one that joined that group. Yes, clearly, the militia, which is the population at large of the age of majority, able to bear arms, able to be mustered if necessary, that is impugned upon by any such law. You are effectively violating the 14th Amendment as well. It's not just the second that's at play here, because you're saying that a person who's a member of the militia, as properly defined, cannot own certain kinds of guns that would be available if they were 21, 22 years old, simply because of their age. It's clearly unconstitutional. It's already in effect in a handful of states. It should be completely abolished. It's nonsense. And it relies upon the concept, the false pragmatic concept, that 18, 19, and 20-year-olds disproportionately commit gun crime. If you fix for gang affiliation and you realize that most of the guns used by that particular group of people, they're not AR-15s, they're not AK-47s, they're not rifles at all, they're handguns, this means absolutely nothing. It will stop absolutely no shootings, number one, so it's not really pragmatic. And number two, it denigrates the militia. So it's wrong. It shouldn't be passed. And so these people are cucks. Variably, they're all cucks at least to some degree. And you can go to Gun Owners of America. If you have a Twitter account, definitely follow them. And they've got a whole bunch of shit. Now, apparently a couple of Democrats actually voted against many of these things. I don't know which ones. This was House of Representatives. Keep in mind in the Senate, it's going to be a hard sell to get Manchin and Sinema to vote in favor of many of these proposals. They might be able to get Mitt Romney to vote for them. In part, they might be able to get Murkowski and Collins, but they do not have the votes. They don't have enough to get it through the Senate. So all of these are DOA. That's the good thing. None of these things are likely to actually become law. And then Biden can say, well, the obstructionist Senate, we need to get rid of the filibuster because clearly, if we have 51 votes, we should be able to do literally whatever we want. And so that's basically what happens. And it's horseshit. And they know that it's horseshit. Just a bunch of propaganda. Geek Rican Z, who's more libertarian, you or Razor Fist? Well, I believe that pineapple on pizza is a good thing. He thinks it should be banned. I do not care how you have your steak. I'm just pointing out that medium rare is the proper way to have it. So I think that I'm more libertarian than Razor Fist. Mickey Mishra, I just gave up and I feel better. I don't know the context of that, but good on you, I suppose. Doc Holliday, what's the chances three-letter agency traitors are grooming and radicalizing social misfits to carry out mass shootings? Well, we'll get into the latest mass shooting, or would-be shooting, rather, with regards to, what's his name there? Just a sec. Nicholas John Roske, or Rosk, or Roski, not 100% sure. He tried to kill Brett Kavanaugh. Not mass shooting, sorry, shooting in general. I don't think that he needed to be groomed by an FBI handler, although the FBI probably had him on the radar. We'll probably find that out in the coming weeks. The legacy media is doing that. The legacy media has convinced people that everyone else is a Nazi. They're rising up. They hate everyone. They're going to kill. They're going to shoot. And so people act preemptively like this. He was angered over the Roe v. Wade leak and said, well, the Supreme Court is going to take women's rights away. I'm going to white knight for all of these women who totally need my help because I'm mentally ill and have nothing to live for. And people that are on the edge, they can be driven over that edge by legacy media reporting. What we really need to do is start going after the corporate media. Archive everything. Rob them of their clickbait. Take their money away. Do not ever share, to all of you out here watching this, never share anything from any legacy media, CNN, Fox, CBS, MSNBC, the fucking RT, BBC, The Sun, any of these groups, whether you agree with the article or not, doesn't matter. Take them, right-click them, copy the link, put it through archive.today, and then share it out. Never share it directly. Rob them of their money. Take their attention away. Musically assured destruction. Pop quiz. Worst school shooting in America did not involve a rifle. Which was it? I don't know. I failed your pop quiz. I think maybe you're talking about Columbine. Wasn't that a tactical pistol, actually? Like an Uzi or something? Griven Share. Politicians want to reduce gun violence, but they want 120 million Americans in jail for cleaning a gun. What do they think the outcome will be? Yeah, the outcome will be that the people who resist will get thrown in federal prison, and they'll be happy about that. They realize that those people have certain leanings politically that go against the globalist bottom line. And that's the whole point. Mr. Wonderful, seeing Trump re-truth a picture of his face carved into Mount Rushmore was hilarious and a tonic in this time of clownery. Yeah, I'd use Truth Social, except it's only available in the US and Canada at the moment. For some reason, it's not available anywhere in Europe. And I'm not going to sit there and fucking use a VPN just to use Truth Social. So right now, I'm not on the platform. Someone's holding my account for me, which is odd because I had registered the account with my email and somehow somebody else still was able to register it. So there are some problems with Truth Social right on the face of it. Not going to lie. Nervous Sips. The Democrats have already stated if the Senate blocks these gun laws, they are killing the filibuster and packing the courts. Well, they can't kill the filibuster. They would need Manchin and several others within the Senate to side with them. They've already ruled out the concept. Even Feinstein, Dianne Feinstein, she is desperately anti-gun. She's also literally demented at this point. She said she won't vote in favor. Manchin has completely ruled it out. He's vowed that he won't vote in favor. They don't have the votes to kill the filibuster. As far as packing the courts, again, you would need a majority of the Senate to do that. They don't have the votes. It's pretty sad when Joe Manchin is standing in the gap and defending your democracy. Well, your republic, Democratic Republic. Mr. Twisted Frenzy, do you think all the court cases should be live streamed so the public can see what's going on without any MSM spins? Also, what is the likelihood that the MSM will succeed in lobbying against any live streaming in any court? I believe that it's a good idea, at least if the defendant requests it. The legal team should be involved with that. They should also have the right not to have it live streamed. Just to have people in the court physically, live, actually there, observing, that's fine too. We can't get ahead of ourselves and say because it's the internet era, we have to force that sort of thing down people's throats. As far as their lobbying against live streaming, I don't know if it'll be successful. I think it should be allowed, but it shouldn't be necessarily required. I think that it should be basically the legal teams for the defendant, especially, and the prosecution or the plaintiff as well, and they should determine whether that's going to happen. Roughneck MP173, hope you're doing well. To include the Missus and the Little Lady, much respect from South Texas. It's going to be an interesting summer here if Title 42 is revoked. Yes, injuncted currently by a federal judge. We'll see what happens with that. I think that Biden will lose. Musically assured destruction, the answer to the pop quiz, Virginia Tech, and it involved 2 pistols. Oh, that was Columbine. By the way, there's a very good movie called Elephant that's about the Columbine shootings. To be clear, I do not care about the character development for the first hour of that movie. When I watched it when I was a teenager, I liked the last 15, 20 minutes of it. Just saying. That was interesting. Anyway, we'll go to the next topic here, just a sec. Yes, the WHO is now warning, link in the description, by the way. It's archived, so you can pay attention. WHO warns there's real risk monkeypox become established in new countries. How wonderful. Now, of course, people could just stop having anal orgies for a while, and this probably wouldn't be a problem. Does anyone think that it's coincidental that this happens a few months before the midterm elections in the US and major elections in many other countries as well in the same season? Is that a coincidence, or is it fucking monkey shines? I think that it's the latter. The fact is that the West African monkeypox currently breaking out is acting mainly like an STD. That's number one. Number two, it would be very easy to wipe out if the WHO were to come out and say to people, hey, stop screwing each other in the ass and having orgies. Take it easy this particular Pride Month and stop it. And it would pretty much go away. We've had outbreaks, by the way, of this disease before. We've had outbreaks in the 2000s and in the 1990s. They were always contained fairly easily. Why is it that this time, all of a sudden, it's a major emergency, a major disaster? Number one, for political reasons. They want it to be one. Number two, political correctness. They're no longer willing to come out and tell people proper behavior with regards to monkeypox. Stop fucking each other in the ass, getting really close to each other and exchanging bodily fluids for the next month or two, and it'll go away on its own. It's not particularly transmissible person to person. It's mainly transmitted animal to human. Not just from monkeys, by the way, rodents and certain other creatures. So that's my thoughts on monkeypox. It is not an emergency. It's not a major problem. I see certain individuals saying that people need to mask up to prevent monkeypox spread. No. What we need to do is we need to be very clear, not politically correct. We need to come out, tell it how it is, fuck people's feelings, and say stop fucking each other in the ass. Stop having orgies. Have some self-control for at least a little while. That's all you need to do. By the way, there's a housefly in here. The cat tries to catch it. Has always failed. Nicholas, what happened to Scott Adams? I followed him throughout the Trump presidency, but now his takes get weirder and weirder. I've stopped following him. Well, he is very good at the hypnotism thing. And in his sense, it's basically you make predictions that are unfalsifiable. You make statements that are easily interpreted multiple ways. It's basically Nostradamus. Scott Adams is very intelligent. He knows how to do this very well. You say something that can be interpreted 5 or 6 different ways, chances are considerably greater than 50-50 that one of those potential interpretations is later seen as true. And he's a master at this. He has to be admired on one hand. However, it is unfortunately the case that some of his material over time has been shown to be wrong. He's said things, especially with regards to COVID, that are clearly wrong. But he says them in such a way that it's unfalsifiable. So there's no way really to nail him down. I don't know. I admire that. Very good at linguistics. Nervous Sips. Even Manchin said if it doesn't pass, they're killing the filibuster. All of the Democrats have 51 votes with Kamala and the nuclear option. No, Manchin has stood in favor of the filibuster. If you're talking about a temporary reduction of the filibuster. That is for one particular vote. He has kept that on the table. The problem is Manchin is not gung-ho for gun control. And most of these measures have nothing to do with banning assault weapons. And anyway, if you did, you're not going to grandfather it in. It's going to get ripped apart after the midterms. It's completely pointless. Sorry, I'm not black-pilled on the issue. Not at this point. I would just ignore it anyway. It's unconstitutional. Let him send in the cops, and then you do a court case. Make punk rock great again. Don't forget to hit that like button. Yes, definitely. Yeah, hit these flies too. It's that time of year. Sometimes you can just ping them like that with your finger if you're really, really steady and you can get up really close to them. The cats are no help though. Yeah, really aren't. Fool sent $100. Thank you very much. You should do what Tim Pool does for Chicken City, but with your garden and cats. Yeah, but the weather permitting normally. That's the problem. I like it to be warm in the house, and in the Netherlands, it's usually warmer inside than it will be outside. And when you've got a little kid, of course, a newborn, an infant, you have to keep things a bit warmer anyway because they can't store body heat quite as well as adults. So I can't keep the door open 24/7 like I'd like to. Maxwell Washuls, thoughts on Clown World BTS White House visit. Also, did you see that movie Bob egregiously lied about Marvin Haymeyer on Twitter and claimed he targeted children with his killdozer? I didn't see that, but I've seen propaganda like that for a very long time. The idea, if you don't know what the killdozer is, just look it up. Basically, an individual who was completely lambasted by the city council decided to take matters into his own hands, took a bulldozer, armored it up, and then proceeded to destroy half of his community. He killed nobody. He targeted mainly civic buildings and those associated with the people who had wronged him. I fail to see the problem. Sorry, I just don't give a shit. Nobody died. Nobody was injured. He died in the end. That's basically it. They treated it like a major terrorist event. Wasabi, hi Sticks, I had to walk off work, just no work night shift in the States and almost got in a fight, but I managed to see the stream. I might need a new job, if not wanting to go to jail for BS. Yeah, try to avoid jail. If you do get into jail, don't drop the soap. That's an old mythology, but it's still funny to talk about. Anyway, we'll move on to the next news story. I'm probably going to keep it a little bit shorter today. We're going up on a half an hour, but mainly I wanted to get through these because there's too many news stories for me to be able to comfortably talk about them all tomorrow and the next 48 hours. Affidavit, Simi Valley man said he was suicidal when he decided to try to kill Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. That is, of course, our friend, Nicholas John Roski. I pointed out this morning on one of my videos, the legacy media is absolutely culpable for what happened here. An individual traveled from California to go and kill Brett Kavanaugh because he was pissed off about the Roe v. Wade leak and said, well, it's going to be Handmaid's Tale. I got to take care of this. Basically, he was suicidal anyway. So he doesn't give a shit about his life. He doesn't care if he lives or dies. So he went there figuring, hey, I'm going to have one last shebang here. I'm going to kill this dude and I'll be remembered and fulfilled as I slowly gasp for breath after I get gunned down by the cops that are guarding this dude. And the legacy media has effectively encouraged this to happen. Not just with the Roe v. Wade leak, which shouldn't have been published in the first place. That's small fry. They are constantly, day after day, 24/7, dumping negative news on people and trying to convince them that they hate one another. So you're living in like small town America. You think that somebody who lives 1,000 miles away hates you. Well, great way to take the people that are already mentally decrepit, that are already given over towards potential violence and hopelessness, a reason to go crazy and kill somebody. This is the legacy media is doing, and they've done it many times before. They are the purveyors of evil within U.S. culture and within many cultures in the world. That's why I suggest to people, archive everything, take away their revenue, handicap them, take away their money, take away their clicks, take away their attention. Run everything through archive.today or some similar service before you share it out. Never send me a news tip that is not archived. I don't want to read it. I don't want to give them the click because it gives them attention that they do not need to have. CNN, Fox, all of these groups. Yeah, my last name. Why is the chat so slow, or is it just me? I have slow mode on because otherwise I can't get to all of these things. It's impossible. Deplorable Dave. Biden admin is failing horribly. I see a sum of all fears scenario playing out to distract from their failures. What do you think? P.S. Meow. Yes, we've got a little kitty here. I think that is number one, Roe v. Wade, and number two, gun control. I think that's their last bulwark. I think those are the things they've decided to focus on because they realize even if more than half the population does not want additional gun control and actually does want further curtails of abortion, they're losing less on these issues than they're losing on the economy, crime, the border, foreign policy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We just saw what happened in California the other day. Los Angeles and San Francisco, which are far-left cities, rejected soundly socialist doctrine. In San Francisco, you had more than a 60-40 against the sitting DA. He was recalled because of his broken windows policy. I don't mean broken windows as in going after property crime and amplifying it. I mean broken windows as in San Francisco is full of broken windows, homelessness, shit on the ground, and drug use because they've decided to do nothing about basic crime in their communities. And people got tired of it. And ultimately, liberal NIMBYists were the ones that put the final nail in the coffin of that particular DA. It wasn't Republicans. This is San Francisco is a 60-40. There aren't that many Republicans. They're probably not 20% of the population would be Republican. Maybe 25% if you include people who lean right vaguely. No, it was NIMBY liberals. They had no problem with the ideas that were espoused by the far left. Well, we want to be kinder and gentler, and we want to send social workers out. And by the way, shoplifting, that's fine. They didn't expect that the shoplifting would be on the shops that they wanted to go to. The middle and upper middle class shops in the downtown and stuff. No. They expected it'd be in the ghetto. Well, they don't care about some black person who owns their television repair shop getting broken into and having shit robbed from them. They like it. They think that it's wonderful. That's justice to them. They do care when their lily white neighborhood, their upper middle class enclave, they do care when their Starbucks gets broken into. These people are scum. They deserve to suffer. It's good that they've had a few years of suffering. They've decided to cut their losses, and it's hilarious to see them take the L. Vaz Camp sent $200. Thank you. Come back to America, Sticks. Kiremo.com. We have openings for warehouse workers and other positions. I don't know that I'd want to work in an ammo warehouse. It could be a little bit difficult. Then you're alongside Pete the Pothead, and he stokes up his stogie. Whoops! All of a sudden, it goes up like the Enschede Fireworks Department. Yeah, I'll take a look at the website, though. Definitely. But no, I will not be getting that kind of job. I do apologize, but this is mainly my job. This and books. Books don't blow up, if you if you light a candle. I don't know. I'd be nervous all the time if I was in an ammo warehouse. I like ammunition. I like guns. But being in a place where it's everywhere and it's like, oh, I like incense. I like, citronella candles at this time of year. I should probably light 5 or 6 of them in here to keep the flies away from my workstation. Yeah, I don't think that would work for me. I think that I'd sleep even more poorly than I do now. Fool! Here's another $50 for the lulls. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate the money. It'll all go towards diapers. Uh, 10 million super chats. John Snow sent $5, and his comment also says $5. That's very prosaic. Thank you, John. Elmar001. If it were a right-winger targeting a leftist justice, it would have been another January 6th. Yes, absolutely. Can you imagine someone in a MAGA hat decides, hey, Ketanji is not going to be seated there. I'm sick of this bullshit, these leftoids. They go after someone like that, or like Kagan or something. Yes, it would be front page news. Right now, we'd be talking about a state of emergency and the need to lock down all of society. But because Kavanaugh was the one that was almost assassinated by someone who is clearly mentally not all there, it's page B news. Nobody cares. Very interesting. By the way, I think how many Biden loser units are we at between our platforms? We've got okay, yeah, we're at 7 or almost 8 Biden loser units right now. Excellent. By the way, we have a super chat over on Rumble. Rumble still has that problem where it scrolls down to the bottom every time someone comments. So I'm going to try to read this. Rel 21,000. From my understanding, you can take your guns out of the safe when you're home. Still a trap. The default should not be infringed if you are a responsible gun owner. Yeah, I mean, locking up your guns when you're not there makes sense. But the problem is, of course, will it be interpreted that way by local and state law enforcement or by various state governments? Probably not. And we've had that problem before. The Grizzly, finally caught one of your live streams again. Do you think that Biden's floors and ceiling of disapproval popping will affect the midterms? If so, how much will those two factors affect it? Yes, Joe Biden has effectively broken through his soft floor and ceiling with regards to approval and disapproval. His approval has fallen below 40, and that's in an aggregate. That's for the first time. That's an RCP. Number one, which is several points below Trump at the same point in his presidency. Trump facing an onslaught 24/7 of negative coverage, Biden getting positive coverage 24/7 in the same vein. His disapproval now is above 55. The gap is the largest it's been during his asterisk presidency. Yes, it will affect the midterms. If we're seeing people who lean left but are independent, the nonpartisan crowd, they're not ideologically left or anything. If those people are now abandoning Joe Biden, which means that they either don't vote or vote at lower levels or even, vote Republican or independent, the gig is up, effectively. The midterms have already been determined. So don't be blackpilled. I think we're going to see some funny shit to come. There will be announcements with regards to the midterm live stream, probably over the course of the next few months. A very special individual who many people have requested me to appear with may or may not be the co-host of the Sticks, X, and Hammer midterm live stream. I think we might get 20,000 people tuning in. Slow mode will definitely be on at that point. Harvey, Sticks took the Volkish pill. Varg is happy. I've always been Volkish. I believe that people should self-improve. They should look to their own communities. Grow your own food, cook your own food, learn new skills, self-improve. I've been saying this for years. For some reason, people think that it's a new thing. Yes, hail Volkishness. And then there will be people, they'll take that clip out of context, which will be amusing and think that it has something to do with, I don't know, Germanic supremacy or something. To be clear, I am more on the Anglo-Saxon side. Sean, remember, Corn Pop is a bad dude, and he runs a bunch of bad boys. So say the senile old man who's been sitting on the bench forgetting where he is. Yeah, did you see that Joe Biden the other day tripped going up the stairs onto Air Force One again? This is, I think, the third time. He is totally there, though. Very spry, very athletic. He'll take you out behind the woodshed, man. Tim W., I want to buy my first house, but I'm hoping a housing crash will happen in a year or two. Do you see that happening? Yes, but the problem is that it won't really help you because BlackRock will just come along and buy up all those houses using loans from the government. I wouldn't bother. Disclaimer, this is not official fiscal advice. I just fucking do it. Honestly, I'm looking into that myself. I'm storing up money. I got some decent savings. Not enough to buy a house, but enough to buy a nice plot of land at least at the moment. And I'm considering doing that in New Hampshire. I've looked into Vermont, but Vermont's kind of cucked at this point. So I think there will be a housing crash. The problem is that the BlackRocks of the world will just bid 150% over spot and you'll get priced out. So unless it's in a blighted area or it's in something they don't think is saleable. And keep in mind, the government is using your taxpayer money to do that to you. Not a banned account. Do mail-in voting and census make blue inevitable? No, hell no. I know that a lot of people have been talking about the census results where apparently there were about a half a dozen extra House seats that were safely blue that were accounted for that technically shouldn't have been. Don't worry too much about it, though. When you're talking about a loss of potentially 30 or 40 seats, 5 or 6, is it really meaningful? Yeah, I mean, there should be a redo of aspects of the census, but there's no methodology to do so. As far as mail-in voting, it's been suspended in some of the states that used it before, so don't worry too much. Shadow Fox 14, Healthy Gamer did a stream with Penguin Zero and advocating for gun control. Bet these well-meaning people have never tried to buy a gun before. Yeah, I know. Try going to a gun shop and buy a gun. There is paperwork involved. There is a background check. You will need ID. The person at the gun store can say, I don't like the way that you fucking look. Get the fuck out of my goddamn shop and not sell to you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Try going in there with your soy shirt. See what happens. Viking Woman 1988. I didn't beat my speeding ticket yesterday. Mad. Just pony up the money. Don't worry too much. Jim Morrison. California government has been overrun by non-natives. East Coast mafia invaders like Nancy function to take our property rights. Yeah, they've got that shit in California. They've also exported it to Vermont. Another reason why I'm considering, when back in the U.S., not relocating back to Vermont. I think New Hampshire is probably better. It's got the Free State Project. It's lower cost of living overall, although taxes are comparable. Also, you're nearer to the ocean. I love Northampton. Not Hampton Beach, the sandy one, but Northampton with all of the tidal pools. And there's barnacles and mussels and all the good things in life there. And I'd like to take my daughter there and spend hours out on low tide, which is literally the best thing you can do at the beach. Go ahead and low tide into the rocky tidal pools. You'll find a million shells. There's bones everywhere. There's all sorts of weird sea creatures. It's basically like a living science theater. So that's what I want. And I want to eat at Ray's Seafood again, which I think is north of there in Rye, if I remember, Rye Beach area. They have the best seafood stew that you will ever have. If you happen to be in the Hampton Beach area, go to Ray's Seafood. Excellent. Strongly recommended. Get the seafood chowder and tell them that I sent you. Let's see. Mr. B, we have to shut down BlackRock to save freedom. There's no way to. What we need to do is retain the government from giving out basically zero interest loans to these companies in order to outprice people by 110 or 120 in the housing market. Maybe we should just prevent companies and groups like this from participating at all in such bidding. It should only be individuals. Keep them out entirely. Let them build their own condominiums and shit on new land. Let them buy land and develop something. Be actual developers. Don't be goddamn parasites. Fool. Oh yeah, an actual question. Now that you have a daughter, have your opinions on OnlyFans and VTubers changed? I heard fatherhood does that to some people. No, I think it should still be legal. Hasn't really changed at all. Person's an adult. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. Who gives a damn? If you don't like it, don't patronize their material. I know that I'm not. Never used OnlyFans and never will, because I have no interest in such horse shit. It's a waste of time. I'd rather grow horseradish. Highleaf11, what is your opinion on the new tax on the AR-15 where there is a 1,000% tax, making it about $10K to buy? Yeah, that's been suggested in the House, but again, it is DOA in the Senate. There is no chance of that particular provision passing. I don't even think that all the Democrats will vote for it. I think Manchin and Sinema would probably say no to that. Not going to happen. Especially with the filibuster. I mean, you'd need 5 Republicans to join in, so good luck. I mean, you might get Romney, in all honesty. You might get Murkowski, although even that might be a long shot on something like that. The Grizzly. Also, it's been a while since you talked about this. How well is the grassroots uprising going for the U.S.? Do you think the establishment is starting to get scared? It's what it feels like to me. Yes, they're getting scared. That's why there are so many hit pieces against the Free State movement in New Hampshire, because it's working. If it weren't working, they wouldn't give a shit about it. They wouldn't talk about it because, of course, they don't want to give it attention that it's not due. Kiramo over on Rumble. Lowell at Aaron. Suff7. Keep doing what you do. Nice. Yeah, I'll check out the site. Kiramo. In fact, let me cue that up really quickly so that I don't forget it at all. Ammunition for freedom-loving Americans in Arlington, Texas. Excellent. Yeah, I mean, if I can mail order a bunch of ammo, when I'm back in the U.S., I'm going to need to do some plinking. I am going to get at least 2 new guns when I go back. I want a 22 rifle, something for garden defense, because 22 revolver that I have, the revolver, it's short range, essentially. Rifle would be a little bit better. I would like to get a nice tactical pistol and some more body armor. I've got a level 3 vest. I want some rifle armor, something that would actually be used in combat that can stop something from an AK-47, I suppose. We'll go to the last subject here as well, because we're running up on 45 minutes here. A couple more here. Zach the Celtic Sky. I heard Vermont is less expensive than other nearby areas. I live in a relatively decent area in Massachusetts and have friends from New Hampshire. New Hampshire is a bit cheaper. It is cheaper, though, than Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, and I think probably on par with Maine, at least in the non-rural areas. And who the fuck wants to live in the middle of Stephen King's swamp? Who knows what's out there? Northern Maine. Adam Nyakik, what's new in the world today? Everything. Splank, just wanted to wish Nick Fuentes a happy Pride Month. Anyway, keep up the good work, Sticks. Well, you said it, not me. I'm not getting into that horse shit with Nick and Ralph and all the others, Warski, Jim. It's just too much. I don't do the e-drama thing. They can hash it out on their own. It's like, it's from afar, it can be amusing on multiple levels, but I prefer to be Switzerland on YouTube. Yevgeny Smirnov, $9.99. Thank you very much. No comment. Now we'll get to the last news story, because this is a real doozy. Cernovich actually sharing this out the other day and talking about not using weed. WSJ opinion. So this is the Wall Street Journal, so supposedly credible. Of course, they're not. Cannabis and the violent crime surge. Heavy marijuana use among youths is leading to more addiction and antisocial behavior. Now, let me say something. As someone who used weed quite a bit when I was younger. Weed is the gateway drug to exactly nothing other than eating bad food. Buying a pizza that you really don't need, wasting $10. Getting the hot wings. Deciding to have seconds instead of just having firsts. That's what it's a gateway to. Weed does not have a physically addictive potential. It does not exist. It can be habituating, of course. But then again, so can games. So can sugary foods. So can basically anything. You can get habituated to a certain time of day, getting up in the morning, and feel like shit if you get up 30 minutes before or after. That doesn't mean that it's a true chemical addiction. So that's number one. Number two, there is no correlation in any legitimate literature anywhere in the world between cannabis and violent crime. The idea that people are becoming antisocial because they smoke weed is putting the cart before the horse. No, they're smoking weed because they have an antisocial disorder, potentially. They don't feel they have a lot of social connections, and so they become a stoner because they're fucking miserable. Oh, well, of course, you can claim the latter. You can claim that the weed made them that way. I think you will find, if you actually bother to talk to people who use weed, you'll find that's not actually the case. And it's funny, because this same article is like, well, kids aren't smoking the same amount of marijuana that their forebears did, the boomers in Woodstock and stuff. No, they weren't smoking as much weed as Gen Z is smoking. Yeah, the people at Woodstock, they were basically sober compared to the kids these days. This is just moral panic horseshit fucking nonsense. Bunch of retards wrote this. It's an opinion piece, too, by Alicia Finley. So she must be moronic, too. What? Did you get picked last in class? Nobody ever offered you a joint? I never even saw marijuana till I was in my 20s. I had already used several psychedelics by then. I used marijuana quite a bit. Both the really shitty street weed, the stuff you get $20, you get a slice, like 4 grams roughly. Technically 3.8, but most competent dealers will deal you in a little bit of extra because it's not really a problem. All the way up to shit that was $20 a gram, the top grade hydro that you could get at UVM. The stuff that was grown by Harold the Hippie, the stuff that was grown by someone with a master's degree in chemistry and biology at the same time. No, sorry, weed never made me violent. It made me go in the woods and stare at dew-covered leaves and laugh my ass off. It made me eat, too much food. And pineapple pizza, by the way, definitely a great choice when you're high. It made me watch things on YouTube, actually, at the time, and laugh my ass off. And then laugh my ass off randomly because I was high. It never made me think about anything violent. As opposed to certain drugs, alcohol can make you have violent thoughts, ideations. Marijuana, probably not going to do that, just to be clear. So it's Reefer Madness 2.0. It's horseshit. People that don't know anything about weed, in some cases never smoked it, weighing in on it as they know what the hell they're talking about. No, weed is not going to make you do the Reefer Madness thing. Watch Reefer Madness sometimes. Apparently, that is still the golden standard of weed knowledge that's going to be employed by these people. I haven't used weed in a decade, dude. I still support its legalization. Not even legalization, decriminalization. Grow all the weed you want. Sell the weed to your friends. As long as kids aren't involved, I don't give a damn. Kids and DUI, that's the only thing. Major Rocco 6, it's me, still holding your username on Truth. Don't use Twitter, but we'll find a way to contact you when you're back in the States. I do appreciate that, and thank you. I don't know how you managed to register it, though. I had already signed up with my email and that username with Truth. So I think that we've understood that there are a few technical difficulties with the site. I would be interested in using it, though. You know, another site that I can use to promote the content. I think it'd be nice. Spanky, buy a Ruger 1022 with 25 round mags. Best 22 rifle around. Yeah, I've looked into a dozen different rifle variants. I really like tactical pistols the best. They look the best aesthetically. They just look the part. They look impressive and comfy. You know, it's light enough so you can carry it around when you go out in the woods. You might get attacked by a bear. Well, it's going to pack more of a punch than a 22 revolver. Jim Morrison, raised seafood in Hampton Beach, better than Rye Harbor lobster? Yes, absolutely. Okay, we'll tell them Charles sent me. AA Bar in Eureka, California for the best ribeye. Yes, raised seafood in Hampton Beach, although I think it's actually a bit north of Hampton. Northampton? I don't know. Went there with my family several times. Good fries, good everything. But seriously, the seafood chowder that they have there is literally to die for. Fucking try it. You will like it. If you're allergic to shrimp or something, clearly you'll have to buy something else. I don't know. Maybe they have calamari now. I love squid. Fried squid is one of the greatest things ever. Yes, I will, by the way, put ketchup on it. I do not care if you think this is heresy. Yevgeny Smirnov. Hey, Sticks, what do you think about preppers and YouTube talking about food shortages and how we will have no food in September? We'll have food. It'll just be a lot more costly. And I've been warning of this for months. The Russian throttling back of fertilizer shipments, necessitating much higher cost imports, is going to absolutely slam food prices up and down the fucking food chain. I think it might even come in August, not necessarily just September, through the end of the year. Goddamn prepare. You're going to be paying through the goddamn nose, much more than you expect, by the way. I am not one to panic people. I don't think there will be a civil war. I've repeatedly tried to white pill people. I'm not black pilled at all. I'll be fine. Most of you will be fine. But if you can prepare, now is the time to do it. You're going to be paying 200% on some of these goods because the fertilizer costs so much more, because the fuel costs so much more. The combine harvester that grabs up that corn, the nitrate fertilizer used to plow in the corn, now costs twice as much. Well, is the farmer going to absorb that cost? The only other option is the government absorbs it with your tax dollars anyway, hyperinflating the currency further. You just won't see that until roughly the middle of winter. That would arguably be even worse. I think everyone should be prepping right now. At the very least, have a good pantry with 3 or 4 months good supplies. Might want to have some candles on hand. You should definitely have a gun. People talking about Mexican brickweed. Oh, I did that. Down in Florida, $20 for a slice, and it was a fat slice. Yeah, a few seeds and stems in it, but pretty good, you know, reasonable weed. I don't know that it was technically brick. It was maybe a little bit like a grade above brick, but it was, I enjoyed it. It's the whole point. The Real Holtzinator, pineapple barbecue chicken pizza for the win. I never put chicken on pizza. I'll take the pineapple, though. I'm a song. Weeds make me violent all the time. I yank them out by the roots and they keep growing back. Leave my yard alone. By the way, it just said that we're having trouble. We're having trouble streaming somewhere, or so it said. We got a couple more in Rumble. I don't even know if we're live. I don't know. I guess I'll know in a minute. On Rumble, Ziranks, I've said the gun control argument is lost to its proponents. The Texas issue after defund the police was the last forfeit. Now we bring back the family. Only topic worth discussing. Yeah, gun control is basically a lost cause. We're seeing that right now. Log Sucker Jones, do you think the Bogdanov twins really died of COVID, or was it the Rothschilds who had them assassinated for the phone call that saved Europe? I think it was the Rothschilds. Log Sucker Jones again. Hey, Sticks, I'm going through a messy divorce and my wife is getting custody of a retarded human shit baby, even though she's a bad mother. What the fuck is wrong with our family court system? Well, you have to summon Andy to help you. You will need to make a shit pentagram with your own excrement. Eat only corn for an entire week. Corn and laxatives, of course. And then you'll have enough to summon him. Make sure to get some brown candles. You'll need them. Mostly they'll be cinnamon scented. Zach the Celtic Sky, we've had a relatively decent governor here in Mass who's Republican and a moderate. I am just afraid Democrats will get back in and California us. Well, Massachusetts is like a cold, miniaturized version of California already. I hate to tell you. By the way, please don't send any more super chats. We're going up on an hour here. I've had a lot of fun, but I also have to check out this ammo site here. What was it again? Cureammo.com. John Ski. Not making this up. House gun control bill includes a provision that says you have to be a licensed gun MFG to take apart, reassemble your own gun. Insanity from the left. Yes, apparently customizing your weapon or cleaning it would be a no-no, which is why it won't pass. There's no chance of it passing the Senate, which is good. Not a banned account. Why do Repubs think that white people are going extinct? Because they do not understand the difference between absolute numbers and ratios. Although I would point out it's not Republicans. It's a fringe of a right-wing political ideology. Although a lot of those people these days have become socialists. I think, I don't know, they have nostalgia for Hitler, I guess. It's kind of weird. Politics makes really weird bedfellows. Dade Lee Murphy, Tarl, if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were drowning in a pool, who would you save first and what kind of sandwich would you make? I will take a pastrami on rye. Yes, with lots and lots of horseradish mustard. Extra spicy, of course. Some lettuce, some tomato, get a little crunch in there. And then I would just sit back and enjoy the show. Yeah, PS views on Twitch. Obesity crisis solved. Yeah, that'll be probably the next line from the legacy media. U.S. Obesity rates have gone down 5% over the last year. People crediting Joe Biden for this massive win. You know that they would, too. They wouldn't even fucking try to hide it. I mean, I'm not even being hyperbolic. They would actually do it. Mike McKenna, Sticks, can you please bring back the mic? Driving in my car and it sounds like a tin can, sir. It'd be hilarious if my audio were going through the wrong device this whole time. But it's not. It's going through the Brio. I do have a microphone set up. Yeah. My microphone's right here. And my cup, obviously. And a bunch of hair from the cat. Wonderful. Oklahoma has ounces of high-grade pop for $35. That sounds a little bit low. I'm sure that that's adulterated with something. Yeah, the cat is not a clanker, unfortunately. Anyway, I'm going to go off here, but we had, let's see, 2,500 plus, that'd be about eight Biden loser units, almost 9, actually. I didn't expect that many people to tune in. I mean, this is an off-the-hook live stream. Yeah. By the way, to Brandy Y, how's your baby? She is doing fine, currently napping upstairs so that there's no baby noises in the background. So yes, I'm going to go off here. Had a fun time. I will be live on Saturday, I hope, and on Sunday probably with the Super Chat Q&A, of course. And remember, fairly soon we will get a Roe v. Wade decision. I will go live for that. I don't care what time of day it is. Unless it's in the middle of the night, I'm already asleep or something when the decision comes out. But I'll live stream the subsequent morning before my videos if that happens. I will also probably go live if there is a decision on concealed carry, regardless of what the decision is. Unless it's at a really inhumane hour. That's secondary. Roe v. Wade's the big one everyone's thinking about. I care more about the concealed carry decision. And then possibly even for the EPA decision. SCOTUS has a huge docket in front of it right now. People don't even know half of these important cases. They are substantial. They will be doing a lot of figuring out about the trajectory politically and socially of the country over the next few years. And Hacksman X, love you, dude. Keep the occult videos going. I've got about a dozen of them lined up right now. But when there are too many political topics to cover, this is literally why I'm doing this live stream right now, to knock some of these out of the way, to take them out of the docket. I have to do 2 political videos, so I don't have any room for the occult video. I don't have enough time right now with my schedule to make that 4th or even 5th video. In the future, though, I will be making more. There will be much more to come. Don't worry. That's about all. Peace out.